Alaska literally pays its citizens a yearly dividend out of its massive petroleum wealth. Yet, the state's southern utility grid, covering the Anchorage area, is currently warning residents to prepare for rolling winter blackouts. The local utilities are running out of fuel. For decades, they have relied on natural gas extracted directly from the nearby Cook Inlet, but those legacy wells are drying up, and Hillcorp has informed the utilities that it will not guarantee firm gas contracts past 2028. To survive the brutal winter peaks, utility operators have resorted to extreme hoarding. They are aggressively drilling new injection wells at a local underground storage facility, packing away every cubic foot of excess summer gas they can find to ensure the pipes don't freeze in January. But hoarding only buys time. The primary survival strategy is an engineering reversal. Harvest Midstream recently bought the 50-year-old Kenai LNG terminal, which was built to export Alaskan gas, and is actively hacking the old pipework to run in reverse, turning it into an emergency import facility. Bringing in liquefied natural gas on ships from British Columbia or Asia is expensive. Factoring in the shipping, the cost of liquefaction, and regasification processes, this stopgap measure is projected to permanently spike local electricity and heating bills by 30 to 50%. The state famous for global energy dominance is now vulnerable, forced to buy its own survival from outside markets at a massive premium. The immediate price hike is painful, but the real threat lies in international energy markets. Global LNG suppliers don't just sell random shipments on a whim. They demand absolute financial certainty before a ship leaves the dock. To get foreign gas delivered to Anchorage in 2028, local utilities must sign rigid, long-term take-or-pay contracts. This legally binds them to purchase imported gas, whether they use it or not, for 5 to 10 years. Once that ink is dry, those utilities are trapped. Even if someone managed to build a brand new domestic energy project in Alaska, local utilities are legally barred from buying that local power until at least 2035. Securing this emergency lifeline keeps the lights on, but the financial mechanics of the contract inadvertently lock the railbelt grid into a decade-long prison of high imported energy costs. The long-term cure for this shortage was supposed to be the Alaska LNG pipeline. This proposed $44 billion megaproject would build an 800-mile terrestrial tube to carry gas from the massive reserves on the northern coast straight down to the southern utility grid. But to secure the billions in global financing required to build something this massive, the developers needed a foundational guarantee. They needed the southern utility companies to sign on as anchor buyers, guaranteeing a steady local customer base for the gas. This is where the import trap springs shut. Because those southern utilities are now legally forced into 10-year foreign import contracts, they cannot act as anchor buyers. Their local buying power evaporates, pulling the financial foundation out from under the pipeline. By forcing its primary customers to buy foreign gas just to survive the 2028 shortage, the state inadvertently guaranteed the death of its own $44 billion megaproject. Without private utility contracts, the only way to prove to global investors that the pipeline is viable is for the state government to step in. Lawmakers would have to subsidize the project with $5 to $10 billion from the state's permanent fund. But the political math here is deeply toxic. Imagine being a state legislator. Your constituents are staring down a 50% hike in their heating bills. If you vote to raid the permanent fund, the exact same fund that pays Alaskans their yearly dividend checks, to build a pipeline that won't deliver gas until the 2030s, you'll likely lose your job. The private market will not touch a $44 billion Arctic infrastructure project without either heavy state subsidization or guaranteed local buyers. Without those foundations, private lenders have no reason to provide the billions in capital required for an Arctic project of this scale. The combination of unbreakable import contracts and politically toxic state funding has permanently shelved the dream of a terrestrial pipeline. This map shows 32.4 trillion cubic feet of proven natural gas reserves concentrated at the Point Thompson and Prudhoe Bay fields on Alaska's northern coast. With the terrestrial pipeline dead, the only remaining option for this stranded resource is shipping it directly north into the Beaufort Sea. Enter Kulak LNG. They are proposing a different, agile alternative to the dead pipeline, an offshore export model relying on private investment at a fraction of the cost. $5 billion. This rendering illustrates their near-shore LNG concept. Instead of building infrastructure on the delicate tundra, modular liquefaction plants are built in shipyards, towed across the ocean, and mounted onto a massive gravity-based structure positioned several miles offshore. This offshore pivot bypasses the state's internal political and financial gridlock. By removing the 800-mile pipe, developers don't need Anchorage utilities as anchor buyers, and they don't need state dividend money to subsidize the construction. But bypassing the pipeline introduces an extreme maritime hurdle. Moving liquefied natural gas out of the Beaufort Sea means navigating giant cargo ships through freezing darkness, crushing heavy, jagged ice year-round. Here is the solution, researched with Acre Arctic. Killac plans to deploy specialized Arc-7 ice-breaking LNG carriers, vessels engineered specifically to operate in thick pack ice. This reveals how they work. These ships use a double-acting mechanic. They sail bow first in open water, but when they hit thick ice, they turn around and drive backward. The sterns are equipped with massive swiveling azopod propellers that act like blenders, milling and crushing the ice beneath the hull. This map illustrates the geographic advantage of taking on that ice. Russian competitors exporting from the Yamal Peninsula, in red, must grind through 2,600 miles of ice to reach Asian markets. The Alaskan North Slope route, in blue, requires only 600 miles of ice navigation before reaching open water. The 2028 shortage has permanently cleaved Alaska's energy future into two separate worlds. The South is now trapped as a high-cost importer, while the frozen North utilizes extreme maritime engineering to export gas directly to the world.